Hello and welcome for a short devotion on Psalm 46. Let me begin with asking you a question. Is anything too hard for the Lord? I don't know what is your answer now, but I am sure that you will find the answer for this question at the end of this devotion. Many a times when we face problems in life, we see problems much bigger than God and tend to limit God within a box, isn't it? However, when we look into Psalm 46, it beautifully explains what God can do even in the midst of impossibilities. This psalm is fully filled with action verbs, and we can see a military image here, and also we can see God as a warrior. However, psalmist begins with a great assurance in verse number 1, declaring that God is our refuge, our strength, and our very present help in times of trouble. The second part of verse 1 sharpens the definition of refuge, saying Yahweh's help in times of trouble is totally available and it is always there. All we need to do is to run into his refuge. Martin Luther rightly captured it and made it a star of his famous hymn, "A Mighty Fortress is Our God." The confessional statements presents God in a very personal way. It says He is for us and He is with us. We can see this in verse number 1, 7 and 11. Okay, so when we are happy and when everything is going well with us, it is easy to accept this. But the problem is when the circumstances seem going from bad to worse, and when all things around us work against us, that is when we panic and lose our hope in God. And we ask this question, can God really get me out of this problem? Let us look at verse 2 and 3 and the way that psalmist declares his trust in God. He says he's not going to be afraid even though the earth may shake or the mountains may tremble and fall into the sea. Did you see here? The stability of the earth is questioned. Not just that, even the waters of the sea may roar and foam and even may surge. And he says that, I will not be afraid. I will not fear. But when the circumstances in our life and all that is surrounding us may seem unfavorable, and when our support system fails, or when our bank account is dried up, when the people around us whom we trusted may ditch, or when people around us said, it's over, it's finished, you have almost felt like the earth was shaking, the mountains tremble, and all the things that are around you trying to engulf you and throw you away, isn't it? But remember, God is our refuge. Let's look into verse 4 and 5 and how psalmist explains this one. He says, there is a river of God that flows into the city, and it gladdens the city of God. Because God is within her, so she will leave and rescue. See, look at the previous verse, what the waters does there. The waters roar and foam and almost try to destroy. But look at what the river of God does. The river of God, the presence of God, gladdens the heart of people. It rescues people. It let the people leave. And not that, it says, the God is at work and God's help is at the break of the day. Today you might be in chaos. You might be in the midst of a lot of troubles. But let me tell you, the river of God, the presence of God can gladden your heart. And He will not let you fall. But He's going to help you. And the help is at the break of the day. Today you might be surrounded by difficulties that you think is unbearable or impossible to come out. But God is at hand. God's help is at hand. You and me need to just remember that the Lord is our refuge and a very present help in trouble. As I said earlier, this psalm beautifully explains the way that God works for us. The psalmist arranges everything in categories of three, in harmony of three, starting from the way that he explains about who our God is. He says God is our refuge, strength and help. And he says if problems come, what he does, he is not going to be afraid, even though the earth may shake or the mountains tremble, or even the waters, the sea may roar, foam and surge. He's not going to be afraid, because the river of God brings joy and let him leave and also rescues him. So do you see a pattern of three here? A refuge. If God is a refuge, you not to be afraid. Even the waters may roar, because he's going to bring you joy. He's going to be your strength. Even the earth may shake or the waters may foam, but he's going to let you live because he's your strength. He's going to help you. God is your helper. Even the mountains may tremble, the waters may surge, but he is at hand to rescue you. The second major image that we can see in the psalm is a battle imagery. The nations are at war. And you see a similar description like the waters of the sea. Here the nations are roaring and they totter and they cause destruction. But once again you see the work of God here. It says the voice of God melts the earth. So you need to observe very carefully verse number 8 and 9. It is a call to witness what God has done, to witness the work of God. It says he seizes the war to the ends of the earth. And you know how he does that one? He breaks the bow, he shatters the spear, he burns the shield with fire. You see once again a pattern of three. He breaks it down, he shatters it down, he burns it down, and he commands the nation to abandon, cease, because God is at work. Today you might be fighting the battle of your life with your own strength. And you might be thinking, oh, you have been shot from every side and you're attacked from every side and you're being thrown on the ground and you feel it's too difficult. Remember, you serve a God who is a Lord of hosts. He is a Lord of armies. He will fight for you. He can fight. If he can fight for the nations, he will do it for you. What you need to do is you need to take a refuge in him, because he is God Almighty, the Lord of hosts who battles for you. So that you might find refuge in him, you might find strength in him, and you might find your very help in times of trouble in him. I remember an old story. There was a commander of an army who was a Christian but later turned to be an atheist. Once during the time of war, his whole army was routed and chased by the enemies, and many were killed. A group of soldiers started chasing him, and they came in search for him, and finally came and he hid himself in a cave. The army was searching for him in a full-fledged. As he was in the cave, he remembered the verse that God is a refuge, which he learned as a kid, and he prayed, Jesus, if you're a real God, save me. As he finished praying, a spider started weaving a web around the mouth of the cave. And this man was really angry at God for this. He thought God would send someone to help him out. But here is a spider, just weaving a web. And in few minutes there was a big spider web around the mouth of the cave. And at the same time he could hear the marching sound of the army who were in pursuit of him. As he was hiding in the cave, a group of soldiers came in and tried to look for him. He heard them speaking, saying, this spider web looks unbroken. I think he might have no chance to enter here. So they said, let's go and search another place, and they went ahead searching for him. Then this man realized that God's spider web is much stronger and safer to protect you from any harm. God is truly our refuge, a very present help. I don't know what you're going through today. You might be thinking it's too difficult, too hard to move on. But let me tell you something. God is at work. God is fighting for you. God's peace is with you. The deliverance is at the daybreak, because God is your refuge, your strength, and your help. You need not to fear. If He can help the nations to cease the war, He can help you to cease the war that's happening around your life. Now let me ask this question. Is there anything too hard for the Lord? Is there anything too hard for the Lord? No, nothing. Nothing is too hard for the Lord. May God bless you.